But
You know, Jeff, something doesn't come up much. So I saw RAZZ for the first time in '75 at Fort Reno, and I was, like you, instantly hooked. It was like, first off, it was one of the, in my opinion, one of the first original rock bands, if not the original rock band. Yeah, there were some original bands, but they weren't rockers. And the thing that got me was, you know, you could see these guys, and Mike would sing, and just, what the fuck is that about? That makes no sense. And Mike, because I talked to Ted about this yesterday, Mike and I talked about it on the drive down. You know, maybe that's what made the band a little inaccessible. And I just remember it was a research project. I mean, I doubt that many people in this room really know what Say Way is about, or Cherry Vanilla, or, I mean, it's deep, there's some deep
Joke's
stuff.
on you.
Joke's on you. So, I mean, you know, it just, I mean, I think it was a blessing and a curse. I thought it was the most original lyrics and, you know, out there lyrics and just incredible. And of course, they continued on when Mike started MWWW, and that was just more continuation of like just not, I love my baby, she loves me, I love my baby, gotta go to the bar, you know, it's like there's something being said. So I would encourage anybody that doesn't already know, it's kind of cool to find out the backstory on this.
right,
Yeah.
that's like, sure. I mean, there's all these, I mean, I like we certainly focused on See Redo. And, you know, when I saw that it was, if you do that Unicorn Times ad, it said, you know, out February '78, it's out, and I thought, well, that's the perfect tie-in when I started lobbying Mark here. you have anything February 2018? And so that's really how we started this, you know, focused in on doing this tonight.
Yeah, if we didn't have that deadline, we wouldn't be here tonight. We'd still be talking back and forth. Well, we got this, we got this, we got that. So it's good to have that kind of deadline. But going forward, we're gonna. This is not going to be one of those DC rock documentaries that, you know.
Well, there's still, no, of course.
Well, I mean,
They take a long time.
years, but years and years.
5
and
years to
5 years.
6 years. And,
So we want to try to concentrate it, get it out, you know, in a shorter period of time.
yeah, we're just going to keep clearly working on it. And Ian,
I was going to say that one thing that we should tip our hats to is the graphics.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the graphics in
Yes.
the band were incredible. As a kid,
Yes.
first seeing them, I mean, I couldn't get into a lot of the clubs. I was too young to see them. But I just stare at the graphics, the ads, and just they were so powerful and so strong.
It was definitely art.
Right, and you knew that anyone who any band that would generate that kind of images, those images, you realized that they weren't bullshit. There wasn't what was behind them was something was going to be real. And I feel like that's one thing no one's mentioned. But I just seeing those ads just blew me away. 'Cause I remember just staring at them, trying to get my mind around what was happening.
Absolutely,
You know, so
very, very strong.
really beautiful work.
Yeah.
Michael, that's the thing. I mean, every week, every month in the Unicorn, you know, would be something that would really just stand out against everything else.
Yes.
And then, of course, then the singles and then Michael's artwork and also the covers. I mean, that text cover was great, you know.
Mhm.
And just Texas Benowitz was a real long interview, and we touched on.
What were you going to say, Michael?
I was gonna say, for anybody who wants to see this movie done, they're not gonna finish the damn thing until I'm dead. That's their plan. I'm working on it.
You talk about the art from the jackets and the posters, which was incredible, but Jesus, I mean, if you've ever been to one of his shows back in the day, I mean, the Pope is hanging in my house, huge. I mean, he's incredible. In fact, there was a time when I thought more people knew about you in the art world than the rock world.
Could be true at one point, yeah.
You know, there was the exhibit at the Katzen Center, Twisted Teenage Plot, about 2 years ago with rock and roll focused, you know, the merger of, you know, rock and art and Kim Kane, I guess the,
Guy from the Verbs. You know.
yeah, Rob
Trevor
Rose
Golson.
and Verbs, and then Michael Reedy and others, but it was so funny because you look at the catalog, which is available online, it's a downloadable PDF. I really recommend checking it out because, you know, it's all right, it's, you know, it's standard catalog. All of a sudden there's Michael's pages and they just like, whoa, the stuff really just pops. And so, yeah, that's a free, just go to Katzen Center, you can Google it and Twisted Teenage Plot PDF. And a plug for Michelle for what the DC Punk Archive and the Unicorn Times, you know, everything that's available, the resources there. I mean, I have a lot of my own unicorns, but, you know, going back to explore them. And Michael, you worked at the Unicorn, you were contributing a lot. right?
I'd illustrate mostly for the city paper.
Okay, so you were doing the city
Unicorn
paper.
Times, I didn't illustrate too many things. We just put an ad in once a month, quarter page ad, and that was pretty much. I knew the editor, and I knew, Jesus,
Steve
that's what happens.
Publisher?
It just goes.
Barrington?
Elliot
Harrington, yeah. And I used to have some grunts with him, but the illustration I mostly did was for the city paper.
That's right, through the 80s. I mean,
Yeah.
but your work's really distinctive. You know, it's like you just really,
Yeah.
you know, in some ways, you know, the whole, you know, definition of like what's punk, what's not, what have you, you know, there's something with musically, but there's something about that artwork.
Yeah,
Really.
it's blame it all on alcohol.
But,
Well, wasn't the story about C. Redu and Charlie Starkweather interesting?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I was introduced to Charlie Starkweather through RAZZ. I didn't know who he was before that.
Okay.
So, for anyone in the room, I think one of the things that the music salon kind of comes back to over the years is, you know, DC, we've got this great history. What, if anything, about RAZZ is special to DC? What about, is there something about RAZZ that's connected to DC particularly, or not?
Well, I've been thinking about this a lot throughout the evening. They had amazing songs, but what's often understated in these kind of things is the importance of local radio support. WHFS, WGTB, many of us were in our 20s, these guys were in their 20s. When you have a band that's this exciting live, even before there are recordings and airplay, there's a buzz in the community about you got to see this live show. You couple it with the excitement that was created by the really strong imagery of Michael's art. For each show, you'd see that and you'd go, God, I got to see these guys again. And then they're getting airplay for great songs. This market is somewhat unique in that we, you know, HFS mainstreamed local artists. They didn't ghettoize it and have a local music show. You'd hear them, and then you'd hear David Bowie, and then you'd hear another local artist. And that was just, from the very beginning at HFS, part of their programming approach, to include the local music scene.
Absolutely.
And these guys just fit into that perfectly. It was exciting to hear them be played on the radio and then to go see them in the clubs, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And who else has that? Like, what other town has that kind of, we had HFS and GTB, where, you know, the local bands that you get to see in the clubs are like played alongside, you know, the regular stuff. And then, and GTB had this thing that sounds reasonable, like this interview live show, and I remember you guys on that thing. I remember hearing that.
Take one show.
Yeah, Take One, exactly. It was like John Hall, am I right?
He was the first, we did a couple of those, and he was the first one, and from HFS, and he didn't know us from Adam. They brought in somebody as his wingman that sort of knew us,
Okay.
to ask the questions, but he was like, well, you're listening to the RAZZ. John Hall thing, and I was like, Jesus, don't get too excited. Because they did Take One started out, they did a lot of country and bluegrass music.
Yeah.
And we were like the first real rock and roll act. And they took hours to set the mics up because they were like, we were loud.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, that's
figured out
another
how to
thing.
baffle Doug. Doug, where you were like, they must have thrown pillows all over you.
And I just remember the end of it when we were playing Intentions, the last song.
Right.
And we just kept going, and a Bod's guitar went out of tune.
Yeah.
Started breaking strings. By the end, he's
They
like
broke
yanking
four
the
of them.
strings off. And they're all sitting there around looking like, what the? It wasn't exactly the laid back kind of DC sort of.
And then,
Homegrown rock and roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he says, next week we have the butterfly people. Folk duo or something. It's like, wow.
Well, that's another thing. I think like the See Redo record was the thing that captured you guys the best. And your recordings were all really good, but you guys are so powerful on stage. I mean, there was so much power that I think it's kind of impossible to capture
That's just Doug's
in
fault.
recording because of Doug, totally. I
Doug
mean,
was pounding, he's such a pound that body.
That's what
Bill
Dan
had to turn all the
Polinsky used
way
to
up.
say, when we think about RAZZ, he goes, I just picture Doug Toll, he's like, he's the hammering carpets. Every time he hits the snare drum, it's like doing the carpet thing. Installing carpet. I'm not hitting the drum, I'm installing a carpet.
Let me tell you, when I get flagging, I just climb inside his bass drum. That's when that started.
The funny thing was, there actually, when we played that gig at
Painter's
Painter's
Mill.
Mill with Richard's band,
Right.
you guys were Zen Archer then.
Sun Archer then, yeah.
Right.
And the Blue Meaning was Beatles
The
cover
Blue
band.
Means and Sun Archer was the fourth band, I don't know who they were.
Yeah, so we were, I had bought this, you know, I was back in my
Gigantic.
attempting to be John Bonham days, and I had this huge drum kit I just bought, this big 26-inch bass drum, you know, gigantic parade drum thing. And we're playing this Rory Gallagher song, Who's That Coming? It's got this really long thing, a lot of guitar solos, and Dexter and Bob just go off forever. Reedy pulls out the switchblade, and he's standing there, and there used to be this little 8mm film that I think his brother shot or somebody shot from the audience, and I'd seen it a couple times. We used to howl watching this thing because he pulled out the switchblade while Bob and Dexter were going off, slices up the head of the bass drum, the front head, and I'm playing back there while he's doing all this stuff. He climbs into it, okay, and he just curls up in there for a while, you know.
Upside down.
But on the
Well,
film,
you're
the film quality was so crappy.
You were
would
there.
love this being a
I
film.
was there.
That when he climbed into it, if you watch the film, it looks like the head just sort of comes back together, like. It's the funniest thing you've ever seen in your life.
So I'm seeing this, that's exactly what happened. My band played, then I never heard of RAZZ before, because it was pre-K, and I'm sitting in the audience.
What year was this?
77, 76?
It was New Year's Eve, 1975.
75, okay, 75. So it's New Year's Eve, so I'm sitting, I don't know the guys, I'm watching, and this guy, Michael comes out. First off, before the switchblade, he has these sunglasses with chains that go behind his ears, and these big red ear pieces come out from underneath. So I'm thinking, what is that? This looked bizarre. It's like a woman's.
They look like big earrings.
Yeah, big earring, but they were like loose. So he comes out with those, and he's dancing around, and Doug's doing like drum solos and guitar solos all over the place. Pulls out the switchblade. What is this? Slices the drum set open, and he crawls inside, upside down. His feet are over top of him, while the band is playing. And like Doug said, the flaps keep going open and closed. And I'm going, this band is just crazy. And then I talked to Ted that night, and we stayed in touch over the years. And he ran an ad one time. You guys looking for a roadie on GTB late at night. Called him up. Said, what's going on? You guys back together? He goes, yeah, we're going to start playing down at the K. And that's when I went down to go see him all the time.